So yes, I'm holding my shotgun mic in my hand. We're quarantining. It's not a bunch of time to be running around and getting everything. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now with this. This is my shotgun mic that I use for my films, and actually it's kind of comfortable. How's everybody doing? My name is Jason Sidney Blackwater, and I'm going to be doing a Q&A about my most recent film titled Wet.
All right, so when I go to the car, if I get in, follow up. Don't lose them. Stay like a half a block away. And don't make it hot. The last thing I need is for y'all to get pulled over while I'm with Mr. Rapey Man. All right, y'all ready? Mm-hmm.
Wet is about 3 different women who all come from criminal backgrounds and have a dangerous past. On this day, they happen to be going to a lingerie party where they bump into a suspected rapist / I would say stalker. And they decide to take things into their own hands and seek justice on this man. So if you haven't checked it out, the link is in my bio. You can check it out, youtube.com/RedSydneyTV, or you can also check it out on my website, jasonblackwater.com. First question, how did the girls all know each other? It seems like they were all a little bit different. One was a little bit more hood, the driver seemed a little bit more reserved, and the other kind of was with whatever. I mean, I wasn't really giving these particular characters a specific background, she was a single mom, she grew up kind of rough, or this, that. No. You can just tell that they have a very strange friendship just by a lifestyle, They're always looking for where it's at tonight, looking for the club, looking for the liquor, looking for a man to rob or something like that. But only for good reason. See, I think what really brings these girls together is the specific code they live by, which is, yeah, they commit crimes, they do heinous things to people, but only for those who really deserve it. And that kind of puts them in a separate category of criminals, and that's kind of what creates that bond for them. Question number 2, who was Lyra and why were they willing to commit that level of a crime for her? Well, okay, so Janiyah mentioned in the car scene when they were talking that Lyra was her bitch, and that's her friend. You can kind of assume that being that Lyra was a stripper, you could kind of tell that they met kind of just through nightlife or whatnot. Or maybe trauma bonding. By the way they act, you can tell that they kind of trauma bonding to a certain extent. Now, why were they willing to commit that level of a crime for her? Okay, well, 1, that's her friend. 2, they're already committing the crimes anyway. But 3, the particular story that was told on what happened to Lyra, I think that's enough to make any female criminal go crazy, He attempted to kidnap, and who knows what else he was going to do if things would have went his way. So now that they had the opportunity, it's 3 of them, and I'm not going to lie, there's a part of it that they just love doing this anyway. So that just gave them another reason. But with all of those things combined, that would be a good enough reason for someone like that to want to go that crazy on a guy. Next question, how long did it take to shoot this, and how big of a crew did you use? I'd say it took about a full day. 9 a.m., we kind of wrapped it up around 4 p.m., and that's including the time that it took to travel from location to location. And I remember the girls had stopped for coffee or something like that. And in terms of how big of a crew did I use, minimal. In fact, just me and the actors. How did I do that? Well, being that I'm already doing my own camera work, and I'm handling the lighting myself, which normally I'm using daylight sometimes, or if not, then sometimes I'm setting up China balls, which are pretty easy to manage, and it doesn't require a bunch of men to stand around and take up space. And in terms of sound, sometimes I'll have someone come in and, do the boom or do some kind of sound operation. But otherwise, I'm just kind of keeping things in close quarters so that we can maintain good sound quality without having to do too much. Next question. The ending can kind of leave viewers torn. Some may see the group of females as vigilantes while others may say they're criminals. What do you think? Well, in my humble opinion, I would say they're a little bit of both. Why? Because, yeah, they're vigilantes. They're doing some good work. If you ask any woman, I guess they would tell you that that's some good work. That's something that most of them would actually fantasize about doing. Maybe not exactly how they did it, but what they did because the guy deserved it. And in terms of them being criminals, I think that's pretty obvious. They know that they're criminals. They're not even trying to justify like, oh man, we feel bad, but it was for a good reason. They know what they're doing. They don't even have to second guess it. They're overtly criminals. So yeah, I would say they're a little bit of both. And when it comes to criminal vigilantes, I think that's the best mix right there. Essentially, you could say any vigilante is technically breaking the law, but the ones who do it willingly and they enjoy doing it, I guess that's kind of like fighting fire with fire, you know? So you can sit there and argue, well, then that makes them just as bad as this guy. But deep down, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just means that by the law, they would be guilty of something, but morally, they're nowhere near what that guy is. Next question. What feelings are you hoping to give the viewer when color grading a film? In this particular story, I went with kind of the warmish, slightly greenish tint. And that's because I just wanted to give a nice warm feel, LA, almost everyday life, but I didn't want it to look like just any old shot looking at it from the outside looking in. I kind of wanted to give it that cinematic feel, but kind of warm at the same time. So what I did was I just gave it a simple, warmish kind of tint, threw a little bit of the greens in there, and I just brought down the saturation of the colors a little bit. And I kind of got that just from looking at older movies like Swordfish, or I would say Training Day almost kind of had it to a certain extent. That's kind of the feel I was going for. Something warm, something a little bit thrilling, but at the same time, almost like that everyday life, warm Los Angeles kind of feel. I actually had fun with that. That's one of my favorite parts, when it's all edited and everything is done and you could just focus on the color grading. That part is really the funnest part for me. Last question, will there be a part 2? I've never really been a big fan of the whole part 2 thing. I'm more so one and done. I feel like that's the better approach. When you look at a lot of classic movies, you don't really see the sequels really being better than the first one. And I think a lot of that has to do with element of surprise. Even if the second one was better technically, the audience still might not appreciate that because they grow so familiar with part 1. And then 2, they come back with all these expectations, and having too much expectations could really ruin anything, in my opinion. So if I did ever continue something, especially something like this, rather than just doing a part 2 or, part 2, part 3, I'd probably just rather do a full series. Looking at a show like Ozark, I mean, that's inspiring. You have something super cinematic, very well written, but, they're able to maintain that throughout the whole series and tell the story just in a longer way. So I'll probably say either one and done or just do a full series. Thank you to everyone who checked out the film. It's on my YouTube, youtube.com/RedSydneyTV, or you can check it out on my website, jasonblackwater.com. I'm going to be doing more Q&As, more short films on the way, especially right after this quarantine. We're really going to be getting busy. Thank you for your support, and I'll keep you guys in the loop.